Welcome to 99 FM in celebration of World Radio Day, the 10th anniversary. My name is Ché, the goddess of the airwaves. Yeah, I had to put that in there to remind you, right? And to celebrate, we are joined by radio personalities from other radio platforms. I'm joined by a presenter from Kosmos, 94.1. I've always wanted to do that. Jean-Louis is here with us this morning, as well as Sally J from Eagle FM. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much. Your Afrikaans is prachtig.
Ja, nee,
Sy het net 94.1 gesê.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that,
Yeah.
right? Because you always say,
That's it.
something
It's
like
exactly
that.
that. Yes.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
once
you.
again. And we are here to celebrate something that I believe that we all have in common and
Yeah.
have a passion
Most
and love for
definitely.
radio. Let's start at the very beginning. Maybe, John, we can start with you. Just tell us how long you've been on radio and how you ended up on air.
How I ended up on air? Well, next year it will be exactly 10 years. In 2012, I started at UNAM Radio, actually. I was a drama student at the University of Namibia, and they had intakes, and I went. I started off with a 6 to 9. I mean, you guys know how awful a 6 to 9 in the morning can be for a student in student's life. So that's where I started, and then about the end of that year I started at Channel 7. So that's basically where my break came into the industry and into the commercial industry. And a year after that I started at Kosmos 94.1. This year makes my 7th year in radio.
Nice.
Well, yeah, 10 years, bro, 10 years. And that's also that's the celebration also. It's the 10th anniversary for World Radio Day too. So you were on par,
Look
on
at
par.
that. Will you look
You started at the right time.
Yes, yes,
What's
yes.
your story? How did you fall in love with radio?
Firstly, I started in radio as a newsreader at Fresh FM. So I started 2014. My mother was tired of me. She's like, you need to find a job. I
all
saw
have
an
that.
ad. Yeah, I saw an ad that said well-spoken English. And I was like, that sounds like me. And I went. And then I was at Fresh FM. I got trained there to now actually be a full-time presenter. I'll never forget Paula, the girl who trained me. She was like, one day I'm not going to be, coming in studio and you have to go on air to read the news. So what are you going to do? I was like, well, I will wait till the moment comes and whoever switches on the mic. And she was like, no, you need to empower yourself. So from there I became, then I went on to the morning show. And then I had my own, and then I moved to what they call Informante Radio now. And now I'm at Eagle FM, so since 2014.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And what a journey it must have been. I mean, learning the skills. I mean, you were at UNAM, so translating whatever it is you were studying to on air maybe. Also just including some experience from your student life and how hard it can be for campus radio.
Oh, tell me about it. And also, like the first month or two, the transmitter was broken.
No.
So you never knew who's listening. Of course, you have
whether
to
you
treat
were on
it
air.
whether
Yeah,
you're
right.
on air or not. So you can't just go and do nothing. You have to do something because you never know who's listening.
Yeah.
And people don't understand how tough it can be to be a radio presenter under those circumstances.
yeah.
Hey?
Oh,
that's very true.
behind the scenes
Yeah.
stuff. Let's talk some of the highlights. I love to interact and engage with my listeners.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
That's some of my highlights. But I know for a fact there are also down lights, if I can call it, low lights, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
Tell us
Do
to
we
share-
have to go there?
No, okay, I'm not going to touch on that because it's
Please,
a
let's
celebration.
go there.
Remember? Tell us about your highlights, Sean-Lee.
Well, actually, in 10 years' time, I mean, I think there has been quite a few highlights. My first highlight, I would say, is I love Willem Botha. Now, of course, he's an Afrikaans singer from South Africa.
Okay.
Quite a cute guy as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, he's very handsome.
And,
Checked him out myself.
yeah. And he was my first personality that I interviewed on air. And that, I'm telling you,
Were you
that was
shaking?
it was shaky. It was shaky. But it was fun. It was
Okay.
fun. And then I was actually telling my co-host Jana this morning that you get listeners, they always call. We've got this one guy from Ochifarongo. He calls every day. And it's just a conversation of, hi, how are you? It's not raining here today, or it has been raining. And okay, I just wanted to say good day and whatever. And we had a listener just when I started at Kosmos. Rosie was her name. She used to call and she reminded me so much of my mother because she had a voice like my mother and she used to laugh like my mother. And then one day her husband called and said, he just wants to let us know that she passed away yesterday. No. And I'm even getting goosebumps now. That was, and it's a woman I've never seen in my life. but
You built a
I
connection,
I got
right?
connected to her, and I was sad when I heard the day that she
Yeah.
passed on. And that is, I don't think the listeners always understand, but that is the type of relationships that
That's
we
right.
build in this industry.
Yeah.
And I will not exchange it for anything
Yeah.
else.
I'm so glad that you mentioned innovation and just evolution and connection,
Yeah.
especially with radio, because that's the theme for this year. It's about
Yeah.
the growth of radio. You know, somebody once said, I don't know who, it was so irrelevant, we forgot his name, that radio was going to die. And look at
Yes.
us today,
Yeah.
shining brighter than ever, growing at quite a pace. What would you say are some of the advantages of the radio medium? I mean, he's talking about
The
connecting with
advantages.
people, and that Namibians may not be aware of, you know, that haven't clicked for many of us yet.
I think the advantage, I want to just go back to the connection that you spoke about, and also just the emotions that we bring in, because we're also human beings, right? But the advantage is that we are connecting with them on a different level, because you're just hearing this person's voice, and really depending on your subject, that power of that message that you're putting out. So it's even important how you conduct yourself on air, because you want to talk about a subject, but you don't want to end up offending people, even though it's a controversial topic, for instance. So I think the advantage is just the power of how much a narrative or a message can change a person or even a subject.
Now, the radio is growing. By the way, 110 years of radio.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That
over
is
110
amazing.
years, guys. I'm
Sheesh.
so glad to be part of that legacy.
Yeah.
Most
At
definitely.
this point
For
in time.
110 more.
110
more, please. Can you record? They're going to
Put us
record
in
us
the
play
Hall
our
of
voices in
Fame.
future.
Yes.
Play little podcasts from the past.
Put
I
us
love
in the
that.
Hall of Fame, please.
Alive forever.
Yes.
And the thing that has always been attached to radio is, of course, that the growth.
Yeah.
That eventually technology is going to grow, radio is going to evolve. It's not going to be a personal thing anymore. And that's exactly what has happened now.
Yeah.
Now, in other parts of the world, you could say that people don't have much access or don't tune into radio as much as they used to in the past. But here in Africa, and especially in our country,
Yeah.
knowing our
Definitely.
background and who we are as people, it's still a very strong
That's our
connection.
modem. Yeah.
Still 80% of the population tunes into radio to get their daily news, their
Yes.
daily information, their entertainment, and just the technology. It can be hard for radio personalities to find innovative ways of how
Right.
we can connect. You got podcasts, everybody's doing them.
Yeah.
Now you got to be smarter all the time.
Yes. Kind of
How
pull
do
people
you
in.
two? How do you get on with technology? How do you bring the tech into
Bring the
your
tech into it.
presentation or production, and just the tech in general in the studio and at work? How do you
Yes.
keep up to beat and up to pace?
I want to share a story with you guys. So last year, we had, can I call it a COVID outbreak?
Pandemic.
We had an outbreak at work, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of our presenters tested positive, including myself. I'm okay. And
I was
I was about to leave.
vampire.
I'm the vampire now, actually, you know. But what happened was that because we were a lot, I think the majority of the presenters were now in quarantine. And we ended up going on air using WhatsApp calls. So our tech guy was still fine, right?
Wow.
So he would go to the studio, be behind the mix and stuff, have everything on, and then each presenter's show was presented through WhatsApp calls. So we were all from home. Just, you know, I mean, yes, the connection wasn't that great, but it was not that bad.
Yeah,
And people
yeah.
still
And
felt
given the
like we were there.
circumstances, it's
Yeah, it was
excused.
amazing.
Yes,
It was amazing just to be able
Wow.
to think like, wow, this is actually possible. That yes, you may think that, you know, we all tested positive, but we still managed to bring the radio to
Still
you.
stay connected,
Yeah.
still stay
Yes.
innovating
Yeah.
at the same time. How's
I
about
must
you?
say, I must say that that is one of the things, and you know, when you go onto Twitter or you Google or whatever, ideas for radio or what can I talk about on my radio show today? There's nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah, in
There
my head,
is-
I'm like,
I was-
people
I
do
was-
that?
It's nothing. I agree with you.
So it doesn't even help you type in that. And I
Yeah.
watched a YouTube video the other day, and the girl said that as a radio presenter, you always have to be creative. And the way you are creative, take any type of circumstance in your daily life and use that to be creative. So my life has become radio, and I think you guys know it as
Yeah.
well. So the moment I had pizza this week with a colleague of mine, and we were talking, and I said, "Gosh, guys, I don't have anything to talk about tomorrow on radio. What can I talk about?" And we were actually talking about what is the worst thing that you've done in the name of love.
Ooh.
And there we had a topic.
Valentine's
My
Day
head
for
is
our-
already like pounding.
Let's not go there.
Tell us. Now
You,
we are tuned in,
Yeah,
my
now
friend.
we're
Now you gotta
tuned in. Now
present
we're like,
those.
now you need to give us at least the first 2 minutes.
I don't want to take up all of your time, but
Okay.
I had a friend, and she had a crush on a guy. It was a waiter at some. I don't want to.
Yeah, no,
Mention
it's
the
I'm not
okay.
going to
so
call
we can
those
go
names.
We
there.
are painting the picture.
Exactly, and he got incriminated as taking money. What
yeah,
happened
no,
was
papa.
he then ended up in jail, and then she was really in love with this guy. So she said, "Okay, I'm going to pay his bail, but I don't have all the money. Can you borrow me the half the money?" So we borrowed the money. He came out. This moment he came out, he took another girl.
Don't do
Like
that.
when he was walking out, he was getting picked up by somebody else.
So, and then,
I want my money back.
no, honey, he didn't show up for court. So we lost our bail money.
Oh no.
In the name of love, I just.
Oh my gosh, I lost my bail money in the name of love. I think we should tag that.
That
Put a
we need
red
to-
mark on that.
Hashtag.
That is a proper Miss Love
That's
story.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean, shame. And I hope that
Wow.
she's found love.
She's found
I
love.
hope she's a better
found
guy
love.
and not
And
a
I hope he's
criminal.
not
Yeah,
a
no.
yeah.
Watch out for these waiters. No, I'm
No.
playing. I'm playing. Thank you. So we
Yeah.
got one more question.
Okay.
So many people so many youngsters especially and because I think it's the whole thing of when you get on air you become very famous, right? You got 20,000 people listening to you at the same time. You don't even know, you've got no idea, you're just out here telling stories about your
Yeah.
life, you're out here reading news, we're out here blabbing, and then boom, you become this household name. And many people join radio for the wrong reasons.
I agree.
What
Very
would
true.
you say to a young aspiring listener who is looking forward to being on air and stepping into your shoes at some point in time? Like, what's the thing that you'd say to them about joining radio and going on air?
Sally, you go first.
Should I? I'm actually no. It's funny you said. I'm actually I started in October last year training people that are interested in radio, and it's really been nice. And one of them actually got placed at another radio station, so I'm so happy about that. But what I always tell the girls or the people is that I can train you how to use the mixer, but in terms of your personality and what you're trying to bring, what story are you trying to bring, what change are you trying to bring? So I really say that you need to have a purpose. And if you're here for the fame, there is the door.
Most definitely. I'd like to add to her as well. And we also recently had a new girl that joined our team at Cosmos.
Yeah, we saw that ad. We were just
Yeah,
kidding
yeah,
about
we
it. Guys, was
saw
not
it.
at the best.
It's just that
we
I
were gonna go back.
only know how to say besigheid and ontbyt.
Oh goodness, you guys are cracking me up. But what I would say in terms of that is, yes, first of all, don't come in and try to get famous. Then you're doing
Yeah.
it for the wrong reasons. Radio is fun, yes,
Yeah.
but it's also hard work. It's very hard work, and also they say if you give yourself out to be a toffee.
Yeah, we got
So
it.
then
Yeah.
people are going to chew you.
Yeah.
And
So-
then chew us a chew day for
Whoa,
the
whoa.
Exactly. And actually, last year I started with some modeling classes, and one of the things that we've been taught is be yourself. We have a Ché, we have a Sally, we have a
Yes.
Jean-Louis. We don't want
don't need
or
more.
need another one.
And too many. Too means too
Be
much.
yourself on air.
absolutely.
We want
Yeah.
that flavor.
Yes,
And-
and that's what builds the
Yeah.
brand. That's what stabilizes it and creates that longevity
Yeah.
for it to
Exactly.
sustain itself.
Can I also say that to please keep your accent that you use outside, because you don't want a listener to and I've seen that happening a lot because people get trained and then they end up sounding like the person. So please just keep your accent, because I don't want to bump into you tomorrow and they're like, "You're Sally." And you're like, "Yeah, it's me, Sari." And it's like, So just be real
It's
and don't
actually
be
quite
afraid
a
to
big
make
responsibility
mistakes.
that comes with
Woo!
it, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
people find you
That's
in
right.
store, and the one thing that I always get told is like, you look, you don't look like your
don't
voice.
look like you sound.
You sound much older, and that is always a compliment. I
Yeah.
love it. So
At least
thank
you
you
don't
very
get
much.
told
But,
you're
yeah, I don't know about
white.
you guys. What you guys get told quite often.
I get told, oh, I thought you were white. I'm
Yeah,
like, yes, I am. I am. I'm white.
I thought you had long hair and colored. Yes. Yes.
I'm white and black.
Yo,
and
you are
Yeah.
both phenomenal in the
Thank
spaces
you.
that you thrive in. And I'm so glad that we can have young Namibians
Yeah.
which are open and willing to share, such as both of you, in those spaces because we are shaping minds and we are shaping the future. And you will have more of them. They will come 10 years from now and say, Mom used to listen to you all the time in the car. And thus I have started following you. So thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
those radio personalities. And thank you so much for giving to Namibia and the world as much as you do.
Thanks to
Thank
you,
you
Shay.
so much.
Before we go,
Shay.
Jean, can you just give us that model look that they taught you?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
Yes, please.
Which camera, though?
All of them,
All of
honey.
them.
There you have it.
Do you want me to take off my shirt?
That's
yes,
enough.
please.
I
No.
think that's enough.
Honey,
Well,
I
there you have
won't.
it.
I
There you have
won't.
it.
No. You know, the December holidays are
you've got
still
a six-
sitting on my hips.
All of us. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much. And stay tuned. We will be right back. Let's go play some great jams as we head right into our next conversation here on 99 FM. What? When are we hosting a show?
We need a whole
You'll do the
podcast.
news.
This is so
I'll just be the blah blah. You will run everything. I'll just be the spice.
This is so much fun.
This is so nice.
Oh,
I can't
so
believe it's
much.
15 minutes ran out so quickly.
That's what happened.
I don't know.
realize